The IPL is into its third week, and the star sensation we've seen so far is Mayank Yadav, the Rajdhani Express of the IPL. He's consistently bowled over 150 kilometers per hour, which is the speed of India's fastest train, the Rajdhani. And joining me to discuss this new speed sensation and others waiting in the wing this evening are Venkat Sundaram, former Delhi player and pitch curator, and my colleague Aasheesh Sharma. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus Show. Mr. Sundaram, I want to start by asking you that India was once a spinner's paradise, and today we are seeing a stream of young pace bowlers coming out, literally like Rajdhani trains coming out of a workshop. Explain how this transformation of Indian bowling took place in the last couple of years.
Well, I feel that this is a process that started in around 2010, when N. Srinivasan was the president of the board,
right,
and I was the chief curator of the BCCI.
Yes.
At the meeting, Mr. Srinivasan said, our boys play very well here, but when they go abroad, they struggle. So I said, look, if you're really serious, we need to plan this for 3-4 years. We have to change the way we play our cricket. He said, what do you mean? I said, domestic cricket, if you see the top 10, bowling statistics, who are the main wicket takers, you'll find that there's a mix of medium pacers and spinners.
Right. And
you're not really getting any pace. If you've got to win abroad, you have to have pacers. And for that, you need to have a mind change.
Right.
He said, again, can you give me a note, etc., etc. To cut a long story short, we decided 4 things. One is, cricket will be played on green tops in India, meaning that all the wickets for domestic cricket will have 6 mm grass minimum.
Right.
At that time, there was no grass on our wickets. Second, that our outfields and the surroundings will be top class, state of the art. Third, that we'll get the best equipment in the world to all our venues so that they become world class, and
right,
that our players don't feel inferior when they go abroad.
Right.
Fourth, that while this is there, we should also think about neutral venues for matches, especially domestic matches. There was a huge resistance. Sachin Tendulkar objected.
Right.
I remember saying that that Bombay people would like to see Mumbai cricketers, that sort of thing. But I said, look, this is where we will be tested, and he stood by us. And neutral venues came into play. Then we had neutral umpires also coming into play. So there was a whole mindset change, and many things happened. There was a lot of resistance, but Mr. Srinivasan stood by us, as did Sanjay Jagdale, who was then the secretary of the board. And being a cricketer himself, he understood what had to be done, and we were given a task to do it. And that's why, you'll find that even in domestic cricket, even today, neutral venues are there, neutral umpires are there, green wickets are there, our grounds have improved.
Right.
They're second to none. And even in 45 degrees heat, as we see now in IPL, you find that the wickets have bounce and carry. And that is these are the basic requirements for a fast bowler.
Right. So, Mr. Sundaram, there with a succinct analysis of the last 15 years, Aasheesh, a fascinating story of India's turn, if you could call it that, from spin to pace. And this the express trains that are coming out of our IPL matches, Umran Malik, Kuldeep Sen, Arshdeep Singh, you've been looking at this story very closely, Aasheesh. Tell us how this change happened and how the IPL has actually become like the foundry of Indian pace bowling.
So, Mr. Sundaram knows Delhi cricket very well. So, there's been this club called Sonnet.
Right.
And the late coach Tarak Sinha would have a role to play there. So, he was the one who spotted many a young talent, including Mayank Yadav, who's bowling consistently at 155.
Right.
He's being called the Rajdhani Express now.
Yeah.
He's, hurried batsmen like Glenn Maxwell. And so, he's got the pace. He's also got control. When you mentioned Umran Malik was a sensation a couple of editions ago in the IPL, who's now in the reserves with the Sunrisers Hyderabad.
Right.
You also had people like Arshdeep Singh, who caught the selectors' attention in the IPL and then went on to play for India in the World Cup. So the IPL is this platform where the reputation of the opponent doesn't matter. That's why these young rookies, they can also hit somebody of the caliber of a Dale Steyn out of the park.
Right.
But they are not, enamored with or intimidated by reputations.
Right.
So many of these young pace bowlers have mentors as well. playing alongside with Jasprit Bumrah would have helped. He's bowling consistently. So many of them are playing along with not just Indian players but also international quality pace bowlers. So that exposure is a big help. Also, one role has to be, the credit has to be given to the scouts.
Right.
They're catching them young. They're catching them young,
Right.
and they're being trained and nurtured. The role of KL Rahul in grooming Mayank Yadav.
Yes.
Last season he was part of the IPL team but did not play because of an injury.
Right.
But they persisted with him. They kept him fresh. In fact, I think Mayank skipped the Ranji season, this Ranji season, so that he was fresh for the IPL. And now when he started playing, he won 2 back-to-back Player of the Match awards.
Right.
And he's caught the world's attention.
Absolutely, he's caught the world's attention. But that leads me on to my next question for Mr. Sundaram, Aasheesh. The fact that Mayank is being rested and there is only so much pace in a bowler. It's almost like the engine hours on a fighter aircraft or a jet aircraft, that it has a limited number of engine hours, a pace bowler also. How do you conserve this, Mr. Sundaram? How do you ensure that, pace bowlers are not overutilized and you use them sparingly, given the fact that it's an intensely physical, it takes a toll on the human body? Mr. Sundaram.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there when you say it takes a toll on the human body. So you have to be super fit. And you have to, in Australia, for example, young cricketers, fast bowlers, and the nets are only allowed to bowl from 8 yards. They're not allowed to take the full run up. They're only allowed to bowl for 6 overs in a practice session. They're allowed to play only so many matches. So you've got to have a program for them. And that's where the bowling coaches that are attached to teams come in. Aasheesh did mention that, our young cricketers are, rubbing shoulders with peers from other countries. But let's not forget that many of the foreign fast bowlers have also come up thanks to IPL. We've had Alkari Joseph, we've had so many of the South Africans. Hodzi is the latest who's come here and, shaken the batsman up. So, the wickets are conducive to fast bowling, especially with the white ball. The white ball helps the seamers for, say, 5 or 6 overs, the first 6 overs. You also got field restrictions in that period. If the field restrictions were not there, they say they were allowed only, say, as in the past, 4 fielders outside the circle is for 2. Imagine how many wickets these fast bowlers would be taking. But then that will lead to low-scoring matches. And, people want to see 4s and 6s in this type of cricket. So I think there has to be, and that's what, everybody's trying for. But I think the fast bowlers have come up in, in bucketfuls. Australian fast bowlers have come up. They've also improved. A guy like, Cummins, for example, he's got familiar with Indian countries. A lot of them are playing here. Warner, so many of the Australians are playing in IPL. They're no longer frightened of Indian conditions. Especially IPL cricket is played on good wickets, on good tracks. You see now the scores have gone up. They're getting even 220, 230 runs scored. Average score is about 200, 210, which in our summer conditions is a terrific score and reflects on the quality of the wickets they're playing on. But again, physical fitness and, taking care of their own bodies is important. Fast bowlers will break down. They have been breaking down for years and years. It's how you space yourself, how fit you are. Anderson is a rare commodity. Broad is a rare commodity. They've taken 1,000 wickets and plus between them. So they're rare. But average, span of a fast bowler is about 4 to 6 years. That's it.
Right. And that just tells you there that, our average span is 4 to 6 years, and they have only that much of cricket or that much of pace bowling there, Aasheesh. But, Aasheesh, you visited one of these foundries where you spoke to some of these experts who were measuring these young pacers. Tell us what you saw over there.
So the MRF Pace Foundation, which I visited, has been a nursery. It's had the privilege of people like Dennis Lilly coming in. Then Glenn McGrath, one of the greats.
It was set up, 3 decades ago?
Yes. And now, you have a very competitive Indian coaches, competent coaches coaching there. So, when you look at the nursery of fast bowling in India, again, bowling at 150 or over, that's an art. And that's something which they learn. So, like he said, physical fitness becomes as important. But the pitches have helped. Pitches have helped. In IPL, if you get sporty tracks, people like Kapil Dev was a rarity. He never missed a match because of fitness reasons. But unlike him, there were other bowlers who played on the pitches of the past and they broke down. In Delhi, except, Aasheesh Nehra, who's from Mayank's club, Sonnet. He was injury prone. He was a terrific bowler, swing bowler, but he was injury prone. So the workload management, which is the new mantra,
Right.
Even Mayank has been rested now.
Yes.
That could be the key to conserving and ensuring that India stays a nursery of fast bowling for years to come.
Right, absolutely. That would be the key indeed, Aasheesh, to ensure that the pace bowlers give us their best. The 4 to 6 years that Mr. Sundaram mentioned, IPL Space Factory there, a close look at India's bowling talent, which is coming out all guns blazing, 150 kilometers and counting. Thank you very much, Mr. Sundaram, for that fantastic sweep of India's pace over the last 15 years, and my colleague Aasheesh Sharma for taking us through the paces of India's pace factory. So what is the art of bowling 150 kilometers an hour? Catch our story, The Paceman by Aasheesh Sharma, only on News9 Plus.
Their thunderbolt deliveries can outpace the Rajdhani Express. Few players in the world can bowl at 150 kilometers an hour. Now, India's cricket connoisseurs are excited with the sight of the awesome twosome, Umran Malik and Jasprit Bumrah, breaching the speed barrier on a consistent basis.
Umran Malik is very exciting to see because fast bowlers are born. That's what Dennis Lilly used to say.
Umran Malik, I've been super impressed by his pace, his aggression. It's a great find for Indian cricket.
कोई ये बोले कि मैं बना के कर सकता हूँ 150 या 155 डाल सकता हूँ, वो नेचुरल थिंग्स के अलावा नहीं आ सकता है.
You can get to a little by doing all this, but that natural ability has to be there for a fast bowler.
Bowling or batting is an acquired skill. You watch somebody and say, okay, well, being a fast bowler, I have to run and bowl like that. I'm absolutely sure there is a science behind it.